All right, it's February 28th, and it's time to check some long-term storage onions. You can see I'm inside of bay number 2. This bay is still completely full of onions at this point. There are 6 million pounds that you're looking at in here. Let me just clean off the lens. I got a little bit of dust on there. 6 million pounds, okay? We've been in here doing test cuts before. It looks like somebody was in front of me cutting here. The purpose of being in here and cutting is to see what we have left, right? These are some phenomenal onions. This variety has held up really well, and it's just been great. It's nice to have a really nice quality storage onion, especially when you get later in the season. And some of the varieties that we've grown in the past just don't hold up. But these varieties, this one here is just awesome. I'll do some cutting for you. I'll get the camera to sit here in a way that you can still see. Take me a second. There we go. Now you're gonna stay with me. So I'll just pull out the knife and I'll start cutting next. So there's a couple different ways to cut an onion, okay? And when you're doing inspections, let me show you really the things that we're gonna look at. The first thing is we're gonna cut necks, okay? So you can sometimes in the grocery store or upon receipt, you know, at the receiving, if you're a distributor, food service or whatnot, you're gonna see an onion with the neck just barely cut. And you probably wonder why we would do so much work as to barely cut the neck of an onion like that. It's about the size of a quarter at the most, and we'll do it with a lot smaller knife, but we'll cut the necks. Now, what I'm doing here is cutting to see what's happening internally in this onion. And with a little bit of experience, you can cut that neck just like this, and you can look down inside and quickly determine whether the onion's good or not. So if we have an internal decay issue, we'll, at least right now, manually cut the onions. Now, technology is getting to where we can do this with cameras, but it's just barely getting there. So we'll take a look at the inside of this onion. That has what's called dry scale. There's nothing wrong with this onion. I'll cut a little deeper. So let me get the first, slice here. Let you see what it looks like. Okay, that's a dry scale. So you can see that there's not much going on in there. Let me go a little deeper. Obviously, if I cut this deep, I can't ship it, right? I'm not gonna be able to do that and ship it to you. That's a good onion, right? You can see that it's got a normal center, nothing wrong with it. I finished cutting it in half. I'll show you what that looks like. Like I said, these are some gorgeous onions, really nice white centers, no sprouting, just phenomenal lot. Just what we dream about. This year has been phenomenal from a quality standpoint too, in our operation as a whole. All right, so the first thing was trimming necks, right? The other thing that we're gonna do is cut the onion all the way in half, just like I did with that other one a second ago. The idea is just to get a feel for what's going on inside of these onions. We'll come in and cut a few hundred onions. This allows us, there we go, look at that, okay? So that allows us to see what's going on inside the onion. Now, I'm gonna show you, I just cut it in half, right? And I'm mainly looking for sprouting when I'm doing this, internal defects. But let me cut the neck, and we'll see if we can see, if we were trimming on the sorting line, we could still see this issue. You see that? So that is gonna let us see this without cutting the onion. So what was that? I cut about 20 onions so far, and there's one onion with internal. 5%-ish, right? But hopefully there's less than that. Here's one, the next cut, and they tend to be in groups like this. This one, same way. It's got a little bit of a translucent ring in there. So the cameras will pick that up when we get the line running. But internally, with the regular person, it's gonna be hard to see. I can see a little bit of that on the neck. The other thing that's advantageous about this, though, is it's soft. So if we have a hand crew sorting, they're gonna be able to fill it. Let's see if we get any more. That one's fine. Gorgeous center. And it's a really long process to cut this many onions, let me tell you. Get in these buildings. Not to mention that it's 34 degrees in here. All right, so I'm still cutting them in half, right? And there's one more way to cut these. I was trying to see if there's anything else to show you as far as decay or disease or anything else. If I find one, maybe I'll keep cutting until I find one. We can edit out the delay. all great though. There we go. Okay, so this is gonna have some bacterial decay, it looks like. Cut it from the top of the neck to the root base. This lets me see a little bit different picture of what's going on inside. So if we look at this onion, you can see that the pathogen entered through the top of the neck and then penetrated down into the onion, right? So these are kind of things that we're gonna have to sort for. You can see it right there. Probably started there, stopped, and then it didn't keep going in. That onion would be very hard for a hand crew to get out. Everything else I've seen so far, a hand crew sorting is gonna be able to see. This one would be really, really, really difficult. A little soft on the neck, so I'm going to guess that it has a little bit going on. Just some dry scale though. I'll see if I can cut this from the top again. So from the neck to the root base, cut it, and it's actually fine on the inside. It's really deceiving, and it takes a lot of experience for the crews to get that figured out. Overall, again, a beautiful skinned lot. I mean, these things are like, when I'm selling, you know, there's times when people, very picky receivers, want an onion that I say is printed or made from a plastic mold. This is the kind of onion that I want to sell them when that's the case, because they're just phenomenal, just perfect onions. Beautiful skin, right? They're going to come in and they're a little dingy, right? But as soon as they shuck that outer skin, got a beautiful, nice surface. We're going to trim the neck when it comes over the line, so you're not going to have anything there. And then the other cool thing, 2 more cuts, and then I'll stop torturing you with onions, okay? So pop that open. Now there's a little bit of germination going on this onion. You see this right here? This is internal sprouting. Not scoreable, but you know, you want to pay attention to how far developed this is. So what I can do, see, I cut it in half, but if I cut along the top, I'll be able to kind of pinpoint how far up the onion this is, okay? Get this done right. That sprout is just about right there, right? Probably an inch to 3/4 of an inch from the bottom of the onion. We're sitting at 34 degrees right now with this onion. If we left it here, I'm willing to bet in July that this onion still would have sprouted. Get it pumped up to 70 degrees and you probably have 10 days or so until it sprouts, 10 to 14 days. Sometimes we'll get them clear up into here though, right into the neck, and you're talking about a day or 2. This lot doesn't have that issue, but there are certainly lots that we run into on an annual basis with as many onions as we do that have that. So we have to be mindful of where those lots are going and what we're doing with them. So that's that. I don't know what else to show you. Here's a bad onion, I can tell, so I'll show you what this one looks like. And that's just got probably some mechanical damage that developed into watery scale on the external part of the onion. See, the inside of that onion's good, the outside's bad. Let me cut across the neck here. So even here, so it looks like it might have maybe had some rain damage. If you look at that, it's all on the shoulder. The center of that onion's good. So the water started and kind of just sat on the shoulder, and this lot did get rained on pretty hard right before harvest. And that water will just sit there, and it can never dry out. So, and on top of that, I'm cutting on the top of this pile, right? I'm cutting on the top, so the airflow in here is much less than what it would be, you know, at the bottom of the pile. So you tend to have a little bit more of that issue on the top. Anyway, that's your onion tutorial for today. Thanks.